Right, so, wait. Oh, okay. First things first, today we're going to be talking about enjoyment against discipline. How do they correlate? How would they work? How should you use it? How should you use them? And, well, first let's decide and define what enjoyment and discipline is. Enjoyment, it's all your dopamine-filled acts like watching YouTube with a highly edited video, or watching through a bunch of memes, or playing a video game. All that kind of stuff. I'm talking about artificial dopamine. And discipline, it's a pretty simple thing. I like how Hamza puts it in particular. It's doing the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. So, first things first, all this dopamine fueled stuff that we have all around us. Why? Why do we use it? Well, the spike in dopamine, it triggers a form of activity in the brain which is highly addictive. It's almost like a drug. In fact, dopamine kind of is a drug. And here's the thing. Imagine there's like a bar. There's your maximum amount of dopamine, there's your minimum. At most of the time, without any input, it's around about there. But then when you activate some dopamine-filled activities, it goes way beyond. I mean, it goes... And from there, everything else, every other task that you used to enjoy, you are never going to get to that high again. It's always going to go to there, or to there. Or it might even go down. Point is, dopamine, it can, as great as it can feel in the moment, it's gonna suck the joy out of things later on. Which is why I think people should balance it with discipline. And the fact that you would be doing hard work when you don't feel like doing it, that shows that you have some form of willpower. That you're not necessarily going to enjoy it, and you know it, but you need to do it. So when you feel, especially for a man, if you want to feel valued, if you want to feel good, you got to be productive. Discipline allows for that production. So in the moment, it's going to be like that. It's going to go down a little, but then afterwards, it's going to rise. It's going to stay there. So compared to your maximum level, that's actually an improvement compared to around mediocrity. And from there, you keep doing it, and then the lesser things in life, like enjoying a granola and fruit-filled breakfast, you're gonna enjoy that. You're gonna love it. You're really gonna appreciate the simple things in life, like hearing a bird calling out in a forest in the morning, or heading out for a run and being able to know that you've pushed your body to improvement. Now, of course, I'm not saying all dopamine-filled activity is necessarily bad. After all, think of it as more like a kick, like a little bootstrap, a kickstart, almost like coffee, where if you're feeling ridiculously down, who knows why, you use a little bit of the dopamine, like just a little bit. Say if you're about to go on your phone and play some games or something. What you could do is you could use the 10-minute strategy. You could decide to go on your phone and say, you know what, I'll do that in 10 minutes. Because your mind, it does not like things being mishmash random everywhere. It likes structure. So when you have a structure for the next 10 minutes, you know what you're going to do at the end of the 10 minutes. You go do that, you're going to enjoy it. And So darn ice cream man. Yeah, it always comes around at random times of the day. Who'd have thought it would be while I'm recording? So, the only trouble is, people confuse this with being... Like, they see it as your dopamine goes down a little bit and they're like, oh, okay, I gotta bump it up. So they bump it up, but then they forget... Then they overindulge, and then from there, everything else seems depressing. And it goes right back down, even lower than it was before. So what I'd suggest is that throughout your entire week, be productive. Do what you can. Do whatever pops into your mind that would help. Like taking the weeds out in the garden. Or getting back into your room and doing some push-ups. Or, who knows, maybe even bicep curls. Or just sit down and read a good book. In fact, I've got this one book that I'm reading through. It's honestly great. When you're into it, reading a book, when you master your dopamine, reading a book can be just as addictive as watching Netflix. Except, it's not harming you. You're gaining knowledge from it. You're gaining some wisdom from that book, from other people. And when you decide to make good use of your time, yeah, sure, you're going to feel like crap, but you're going to remember that you're doing good. And that is where purpose comes in. Every man must have a purpose. And without purpose, you fall into degeneracy. And degeneracy, it's a very, very difficult loop to get back out of. Because you remember how I told you about dopamine levels, goes from there, gets up, goes down, you think you got to do it again, goes up, goes down. That is the cycle I'm talking about. Oh god, it's getting bright. Wow. Now, the reason this is also part of the reason why I don't edit my content. Because otherwise it would just trigger more dopamine in you. You have got to be disciplined enough to look me in the eye, listen to what I'm saying, and focus. Register it, ponder it for a minute, and just think, right, what does it mean? Do this every time you see a YouTube video. And if you're on some dopamine-filled video, ask, how did you get here? Why are you here? If you ask why you're here, you're going to be confronting yourself. Now, some people, they fear this. They fear confronting themselves. But if it was so easy, everyone would do it. And if it was so easy, being disciplined would not be a special thing anymore. This is why I encourage you to take it up. So of course with balance, like what I tend to do, like, because throughout the week, I exercise, I read, I absorb some knowledge, I try and keep myself calm, I meditate. Yeah, I do all those things. I try and bring some structure to my life, and I try and do better. And all I give myself is a couple of hours at the weekend playing something like Devil May Cry. God, I love Devil May Cry. Amazing series, by the way. And this is also part of the reason why the 30 to 5 rule works so well. 30 minutes work, 5 minutes reward. You're going to really appreciate that 5 minutes. And you'll appreciate the 30 minutes because you'll know you've got stuff done. So ponder it for, say, the next 5-10 minutes. Then after that, have a good day. Do good for you and those around you. Be a good man.